And we are back again.
Yes,
It's your friendly
sir.
neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football. We are back in the building. I am your humble host, Brandon. I got my man, 100 grand with me.
Man, what's going on, baby? Round two, doing what we do. Got to set up a little things different, but we ready to rock.
You know it. You know it. So, Chris, of course, we talked about the Cowboys, sadly losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. The ceremonial L was hijacked, an Ocean's 11 style heist,
No
a
doubt.
caper, a caper.
Mm-hmm.
Was set upon me, and
Okay.
I lost possession of the ceremonial L.
Right.
And it was set loose upon the Dallas Cowboys in Arrowhead Stadium.
Okay.
Um, so things did not go as planned, but we cannot dwell upon the past, and so we have to move on to the future, onward, ever onward,
Mm-hmm.
to um, their divisional rivals or divisional compatriots, whatever you want to call it, the Las Vegas Raiders,
Yeah,
who we
yeah,
will be playing tomorrow, Thanksgiving, or
yeah,
probably
man.
today when this video will be uploaded.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My bad there. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
we're moving on because you can't cry over it. And when
Hmm.
you start looking at this matchup, on a regular 7 day week, I would
Hmm.
have we'd have more time to dive into it, but because we want to try to get the people what they want and give them what they need,
Yes.
kind of short-handed. So you look at this when you're looking at the Cowboys defense against this offense.
Hmm.
I think the one person you're more worried about than anything is Mr. Waller for the uh
Yes.
for the Las Vegas. Yeah, Mr. Waller, who's basically
Their quote unquote number one receiver.
yeah, Darren Waller, tight end, man. Have an
Hmm.
outstanding season. Um, looking great on so many different levels, and pretty much is there Mister Do everything for them. And
Yes.
all in to make a long story short, he's there. He's where it starts. He's where it ends, and that's gonna be something the Cowboys gonna have to deal with, man.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. It's no secret. It's the worst kept secret in the league that Derek Carr heavily relies on Darren Waller.
Yeah,
Um, he will force feed him uh, until he can't eat no more. And
right.
with it being Thanksgiving, it is
Yeah,
ever so appropriate.
yeah. I mean, I think his situation is with Henry Ruggs being, let loose from the team, and prayers and blessings to that family, and so for his family as he's going through that. But on the field, Waller is where it starts. They got Hunter Renfro, but they really don't have anybody else that you kind of like are fearful or afraid of to hurt you offensively. They don't
Mhm.
run the ball well, but they've got a young stud in Jacobs, who we thought a couple years back would kind of be go-to guy, but they don't run the ball well. So you had to put them in a position where you take Waller away, you stop the run on the way to the quarterback, and try to make them one-dimensional. What you think?
I 100% agree. I think that if you take Darren Waller away, you take everything away.
Mm,
The run is predicated upon Waller's success.
gotcha.
Um, if you limit him, you limit everyone because if you look at and this is honestly up until recently, Darren Waller had been leading the team in targets. Hunter Renfro is just recently starting to catch up.
Okay.
Um, and Waller is still leading in yards by almost 100 yards, even though Renfro has more receptions.
Okay. Well,
Um, and it'll be even to the team's detriment that Carr will get Waller the ball just because he's that much comfortable with
I mean, he's a matchup nightmare, but I think in a week like this, short week. This is the week where um you've got to find a way to you, how's it? Your best defensive weapon right now, and it as we've seen is a Michael Parsons. But I think with a mixture of with Javon Curse being able to do some different things, as well as kind of maybe mix in a little bit more Malik Hooker to maybe chase him around, because at the end of the day, Waller is just he's a big wide receiver. He's a lot more physical than Kelsey is, but he's gonna get the ball
Yes.
force fed to him. So I think this is the time where you've got to make sure you bracket him and try to make somebody else beat you. And I don't think they have anybody else that can beat us.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that you may see Hunter Renfro try to do a little bit of the triculation type stuff, um, but I think that you may be able to find a little bit of success inside, just because their guard on the left side, he ain't too great. Hasn't been necessarily too great all season. So also Odigizua might be able to find success, eating through him.
So you're talking about as if when
Um,
they're playing. You're not talking about against Alex Leatherwood, even though he doesn't have a really really great high grade. You're talking about against you're talking about against Simpson, the left guard.
yes,
Okay,
Simpson
okay,
or
John Simpson. Okay,
what's the other guy that comes in sometimes? Simmons,
Okay,
Simmons,
okay. All right,
Jordan Simmons.
Jordan
He's
Simmons.
seen some playing times. He's seen some playing times recently.
Okay,
Um, so if he comes in and has to play a little bit more on the left side, on the left interior, then Osa will be able to eat because he
okay.
he hasn't been too great.
Well, I think the mouse in the house is Brandon Parker. I think your left
Okay,
tackle, your tackle, Brandon Parker, who's playing right tackle, is your mouse in the house. And I think you get an opportunity where a Basham or a Dorrance Armstrong, or if you can line it up where you can get Mike on one. I think he helps gives you an opportunity to get some pressure and force their car to make a mistake or two, or make an errant pass, or get off the field. This defense is still excellent at getting people off the field on third down. And that's something that they prided themselves on. So I think we still have the ability to do that this year, or this week. And I think we can be able to do it. I mean, you're looking at Brandon Parker's got a 50, according to PFF, a 53.8 pass blocking grade, which isn't stellar. His run blocking is even worse at 46. So this football team is would love to just pass block. They don't want to run block. And I think this is a great week on a short week to come back and get ultra physical and impose your will on that side. So, like you said, Ogigi Zua should have an opportunity to make some plays in the backfield. I think with the rotation with
absolutely,
Tristan, he should be able to get an opportunity. I think Basham, Dorrance Armstrong, are going to have to make their presence known so that you can keep Micah coming from any direction. I think if they're going to shift protections to chip him or work against him, this is going to have to be a game where your other defensive linemen are going to have to show up and make some plays. And I think this is it. Chauncey Golston, Odigizua, Terrell Basham, and Dorrance Armstrong, it's your day on Turkey Day to show out on defense.
absolutely. I 100% agree. I think that when they start to see Michael Parsons, he has to force his will upon that offensive line. Alex Leatherwood is still a rookie, so I'm hope that also Odigizua, although he is still a rookie as well, can go in there and beat him up a little bit. He hasn't
Okay.
been too great in pass pro. Um, so when you also see Michael over the opposites on that same side, I hope that the tackle who's their tackle on the right side.
Austin Miller.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that Miller tackle on the right side. I hope that he has trouble with Michael just because um, you have Osa giving Leatherwood fits. and pass protection.
Not Austin. Colton Miller. Colton Miller is your left tackle. Brandon Parker is your
Mhm.
right tackle. But
Okay, Brandon
Colton
Parker,
Miller.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't remember those guys' names, so I took your word for it.
My bad. But yeah, I mean, Colton's gotten better over the years, but he's not a stellar guy. So none of these guys are outstanding offensive linemen, but collectively they are good. They're good at pass blocking. So that means
Mhm.
they're good at catching. They're not good at opposing the will. They haven't really opened up run lanes a lot, and that's where it's going to be imperative to those guys to get off. It's going to be imperative for us to, you know, play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, which they've been able to do. There wasn't a lot of big runs last week against Kansas City. There was no offensive production against it with Atlanta. So I think they've had that time where the last 3 weeks they got kind of beat up against Denver, and they've continued to transition to be more aggressive. So I don't think that's going to go away this week, and especially to a team that is limited offensively, the way Las Vegas is. I think this is an opportunity for some guys, to kind of pad their check that do the check mark of, hey, I'm a guy that's going to be needed in this rotation down the road. So I'm looking for a big game from Terrell Basham. I'm looking for
Mhm.
a big game from Odigizua. And man, I'm always looking for a great game for the defensive player of the year. I'm gonna start speaking that to existence. And Michael Parsons.
And I'm glad that you mentioned them being limited offensively, because outside of Waller and Hunter Renfro, you don't really have too much. You have their second receiver on the outside, Brian Edwards. But I would realistically trust him against Anthony Brown. Pardon me, Anthony Brown against him. I would trust Anthony Brown to limit him uh, quite effectively. And then you have Diggs, I guess, against Hunter Renfro.
I mean, I would,
And that kind of sounds like overkill, I guess. That
I don't. Go
you
ahead.
get to the point where that is the matchup this week. Trevon Diggs against Hunter Renfro. Doesn't that sound like overkill?
No, I don't think you put just me and there's probably smarter football minds. Because the way Waller plays, because he's big, he's physical. Then I put Trayvon Diggs on him. I think you put Trayvon Diggs on him because he wants to be physical. Trayvon is not the guy to go with the speed, shifty, fast guy. He goes against, he puts people on his island. We keep forgetting that dude's got an island full of wide receivers, man, that's just waiting for a chance to get off. And those guys have been good. Keelan Allen
Very much
has been a
so.
monster, all year. Mike Evans has been a problem all year. But when they come to Diggs Island, man, he's put them there. So I think because he's big, he's physical, and that's how Trayvon likes to play. You have Trayvon cover him. I
Are
trust.
you are you
Go,
realistically expecting Trevon Diggs to try to out physical Darren Waller though? Is
absolutely.
that the game that you're trying to play?
No, but no, I don't think he's going to out physical him. But I think because Trayvon likes to challenge, because Trayvon loves the competition phase of it, and because Waller is so physical, and because your best cover linebacker is on injured reserve right now, I
Hmm.
think a mixture of Leighton Vander Esch and Trayvon Diggs neutralizes Darren Waller.
I
Think
could
about it.
definitely see it. I
Think
could see
about
it.
that. Right. We like to rail on Leighton Vander Esch, but quiet kept, he's had a pretty decent season. The guy
Yes,
who's kind of had a
because he
slip
stayed
up,
healthy.
absolutely. That's all we cared about him being able to do. If he can stay healthy, he's gonna be able to get snaps. He's gonna be an issue. He's gonna be a problem. I don't think Keanu Neal has really um, recovered from COVID, and his play has been okay, but it hasn't been stellar, which begs you to differ about what's going to happen in the second half of this season. When Amari comes off the COVID list in a couple of days.
Yeah, that is something that always scares you. Guys that get hit hard by COVID, you always think in the back of your mind how it affects them physically. Cam Newton is always an example of like the worst case scenario with that. Last year he was hit very hard by COVID, and Honey Badger most recently was a guy
Yeah.
who was hit hard by COVID, and really was never the same in the 2020 season, and really just got back to it.
Yep.
Um,
I, I
Now,
think I think Zeke showed that last year as well. You know,
possibly,
before his knee got banged up, Zeke showed you that hey, when I'm healthy and I'm right, I'm good. COVID is something we're gonna deal with from here on because it's very
absolutely,
a very it's as perplexing as a hamstring because you
absolutely.
never kind of get over until the next season.
Absolutely. But going back to the game, the secret weapon that I think that the Cowboys have to watch out for is the inevitable Deshaun Jackson not route,
Mm,
because this is going to be his third game with the Raiders. His snaps are
okay,
starting to tick up slowly, as Zay Jones's have started to tick down.
got you.
And that's something that I think is going to happen a bit more often. And we just like we saw with his time in the Rams, they would just tell him, "All right, get on the field and run." I could see that happening once or twice during this game, and that is something that I want that I would caution the safety over the top or whatever DB is sticking with him to be very wary of,
Yeah,
because if for any reason he gets a one-on-one opportunity, um, or someone doesn't cover him correctly, he can definitely get that deep bomb, because the speed doesn't ever fully go away for a
no,
guy like him.
no. He can run, but I think the beauty of the Cowboys has because we have just a plethora of safeties. I think Donovan Wilson is coming off with a little bit of a nagging injury, but you can always move Jaron Curse over to that side to play strong, and then you can bring in a KZ or Malik Hooker to play free and feel comfortable with that to the point that they can play over the top. So in the strong and the free situation. So, but I think that we haven't seen the best of Malik Hooker yet. I think we've seen a very good sample size of Demani KZ. So yeah, out the gate, man, Deshaun Jackson can just fly. So because he can do that, yeah, you definitely got to play. You got to play for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Josh Jacobs does not scare me too much. Um, I think that the Cowboys have been able to defend reasonably well against the run. He hasn't been a home run back this year like he was last year. Last year, he was able to hit those home runs, um, but he hasn't had too much success this year. That's probably because of the injuries. He did miss quite a bit of time with the injury this year. Um, but Josh Jacobs don't scare me too much. How do you feel?
I don't think Josh Jacobs scares me because they don't run the ball well at all. They're not very good. It starts up front. I don't think they block well enough to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Josh Jacobs, he gets the opportunity to get started. Yeah, I think he's the kind of back that he gets started, he starts getting downhill, he'll work at that. But the Cowboys have been so steady against the run outside the Denver game this year, of not getting beat on the edges, guys setting the edges. I think Chauncey Golson got beat a lot in the Denver game. But last week, there wasn't a lot of um, long runs. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire had like maybe a 13-yard run. They had some more timely runs, but I think they're so much better up front defensively that the run game can be shut down. And I think that's just going to be, like I said before, they're going to pass, play the run on the way to the pass. And I think it's not to the
Okay.
point wild and out of control, but I think it's just more controlled. So um, they're going to stop the run. I think they're going to stop the run a lot. And I think above all, Las Vegas is going to give up on the run because they don't do it well.
Possible, possible, and I definitely think so. Um, but it would be foolish to kind of think that they aren't possible of doing it, because of
I
course,
don't think I don't think I don't think Dan Quinn or this defense says, "Hey, oh, we're just going to ignore the run." I think having um, Denver running down their gullets a couple of weeks back, and then they
Hmm.
come back every week. Outside of the Denver game, it didn't look like the defensive line from a year ago. Outside of the New England game, you haven't had anybody really run the football on them. Now that's complimentary because the offense got ahead and kind of made you take away the run. But I think if the offense, which we're going to get into later, um, puts up points and kind of makes the Raiders one dimensional, I think they will push the Raiders to be one dimensional well before that because they're not a very prolific run team. They don't fight like that to run the football. They're 28th
Okay,
in run. They're 28. I think they're
absolutely.
20. I think they're lower third in the league rushing the football.
Hmm.
So if you don't have a team that doesn't like to run the football, they're not worried about them running.
Of
Yeah,
course,
they're
of
they're
course.
ranked 24th overall in offense. They're ranked 17th, and I mean Josh Jacobs has how many yards rushing on the season? I'm sorry, look, Josh Jacobs has on the season. I hate to do that while we're right in the middle of taping, but they don't have a lot. He's not a guy.
333 yards.
Yeah, but okay, he's got 330. How many games has he missed?
He's played 7 games.
Okay, his last 100-yard game was against the Miami Dolphins, which I want to think is what week 3, week 4.
Give or take.
Yeah. So they don't. They're not trying to run the football, man. They're not trying to run the football. So I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not saying I don't think they can run. I just don't believe they'll stick to the run long enough to get them there. Does that make sense?
Hmm. I can understand it. I can definitely
Yeah.
understand it. And he hasn't had a 100-yard rushing game this year. So the Miami Dolphins game that you were speaking of wasn't in 2021. Um, so yes, that kind of goes back to what I was saying. He hasn't been the home run back that he had been in previous years. Um, and this kind of all also goes back to what I was saying that their whole offense is predicated upon Waller's success.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they run 33% of the time out of their plays. They're going to try to throw the football. So this is a game where I think it's going to be a big game for our secondary as well as with our linebacking core. I'm looking for
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just looking for a big game with that. And if you can get Waller shut down, uh, keep Renfro from having timely catches. Hunter's gonna be a pest. He's gonna be a nuisance. And if you don't fall asleep on the back end and get caught out there by Deshaun, I think we win this game fairly easily. And the defense continues to start, pointing up as they get closer towards the end of the season.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. I think that the Cowboys defense definitely has the upper hand in this matchup. The Raiders offense, especially with the loss of Henry Ruggs, and it's that whole situation is very sad, has been severely damaged. He
Yep.
was a very big part of their offense. So even without Demarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, which we hope to get them back, soon within the next 1 or 2 games after um, the Vegas game. Um, I still think that we can perform quite admirably as we saw in the game against Kansas City.
Without question. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it. Yep.
Anything else before we wrap up?
Hey man, the only thing I can wrap up on is this, man. You've been spending time with us today, right before you go eat and devour your turkey. Some people don't like to eat the pork, or your ham, or whatever you like to eat for your Thanksgiving meal. But before you leave us, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, man, for the like so we can get in the algorithm and get out there. And also, man, shoot us some comments, man. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you think where we may go wrong and things of that nature, man. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you spending your quality time with us, and we don't take that for granted, man. Hey, man, I'm set it off Chris, man. And I'm hanging with my main man, Brandon from Franklin Football, man.
Peace.
Peace.